So I always tell people, keep a brag book, meaning what things have you done? Because we can't even remember what we ate last week, what we wore yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
So how are we going to remember at work what we did for our projects? And guess what? We want to leave it to management to make that decision. So I get excited when it's time for my performance review because I know I have done this, I've increased this number, I've decreased this. This is what I brought to the table. And most people are scared. They hate that time of year. I'm like, give me my money. So when you're able to quantify it and bullet point it, because nobody wants to read your dissertation, you're able to get your promotions and your raises. And you don't leave your professional development to other people. Yes, you should have an organization that pour into you, but it's up to you to raise your hand and say, I want to, get into project management. I want to get into Lean Six Sigma. I want to get into a professional development program within the organization. Because guess what? Management, they're busy. And I've been in management. We have work to do. We have to manage. We have budgets. We have a lot going on. And you're able to help us help you. So I would say, and we've seen this on a job description, you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to have the entrepreneur spirit in your day-to-day work. If you don't, you will be sitting at the desk, just waiting on a promotion and a raise. And that's not happening. It doesn't happen that way anymore. It just doesn't.
Yeah, and I like the idea of a brag book. Very, very simple, very tangible. As you said, like, yeah, I forget what I eat yesterday. So much worse what I did on this project. So really
Correct.
having a place for that, I think, is so important.
Correct. And so if we can't remember, how do we expect management to remember and they got 20, 30 people? Like, make that make sense. Make it make sense. And then we're mad because, they didn't remember. Shoot, you barely remembered. So
No,
we got to take charge of our own career. We really do.
that's true, and I think that's also important. Is how do you take the reins of your career and say, like, hey, these are the things I've done. This is what I've done for the program, for the organization, and to that point, like, ask for that salary increase or whatever that might look like to you. Or if not, then you have the case, an exactly case to say, okay, this is not the organization that values me, and maybe I need to take my work somewhere else.
That part. Because I've had clients that come to that realization. They were sitting there waiting on it. And then when I coached them, they had the numbers and they were like, oh, we can't, or not now. So we let that go around, maybe 2 rounds of not now, wait. But then we said deuces. Somebody else will value us because this is a relationship and it's a two-way relationship. So yeah.
And how do you help and support people building confidence around negotiating for better salaries, negotiating for remote work or other types of benefits?
It's an individual, but a lot of times I have to get to know them. And I love when people have kids and a lot of responsibilities. And I love when the kids are cannot microwave, meaning or do they go to daycare or they getting ready to go to college, they need a car because I use people kids against them. Very expensive. And a lot of people can't do it for them, but guess what?
Mm,
They can do it for their family. So if you're scared to ask for that $20,000-$30,000 increase, we talk about what that would afford you and your family. And guess what? You get the courage. You do get the courage. And so that's how we change our mindset. And the more you do it, the more yeses you get. Even if you get a no or a not now, like you said, you know where you stand. You know where you stand and you can move on. But that's how I get people to you're never gonna 100% get over the fear because I don't. I'm scared when I have to push that button and ask, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll do that for 50,000." I'm like, "Oh shoot, okay, that was easy," because I have put my worth in writing.
absolutely. And you spoke about the role of mentorship and community in professional growth a little bit, but I want to give you a little bit more space to talk about that value, whether that's been in your career or through the people that you've coached.
Oh, you have to have mentors throughout, and not just mentors, you need sponsors. And that is totally different than a mentor. You need mentors within your organization, a company adjacent to your organization, outside your organization. So I have a whole board of directors my whole career. Before that was a thing, I've had it. I had an HR person, a finance person, a project management, a subject matter expert in tech. You need a combination of people you can go to and that will mentor you or sponsor you. So it is so important. And here's the thing, it's a two-way street. And people want, oh, I need a mentor, I need a mentor. It's not like that. You have a mutual relationship that just kind of gels and you guys work good together. And it needs to be organic because you're going to need to be meeting with this person and working with them. You're going to need to receive critical feedback and work on it and improve on things. And so a lot of people inbox me all day, every day. I want you to mentor me. I'm like, you don't even know me. Like you see me on social media. How about let's start with a coffee chat? How about let's start slow? Like we like date me or court me first, before you marry me. And so that's what people need to understand. And then you need a mentor and a sponsor before you need something because it's too late at that point. So you need to work your way up to it, build those relationships and those connections.
Yeah, that's important. And I think, like, to your point, is not only just people that you see that are interesting, but really like having that relationship and knowing that this is someone that's like values aligned and you just kind of like gel with in a certain way. I think is so important, as you are, because there's so many different people that could be your mentors, that could be your sponsors. So really trying to identify people that are most aligned and
Yeah.
resonate with you.
And let me say this, a lot of people assume, and I'm going to say this to your audience, assume that most of my mentors have been Black women. Well, how can they be if there are that few of us in the industry? So that is so far from the truth. Most of my mentors have been white men, some white women, and then recently Black women, but different parts, not in tech, in different areas. And so you have to have diversity because if you get the same, then you're going to learn the same. And so, for instance, I get all my negotiating techniques from white males. You see where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want something different, you got to do something different. And you have to surround yourself with diversity.
Yeah, that's important, and it goes back to a time I was talking to my sister, and she was I can't remember what specifically it was around, but it might have been like a contract type thing, and just in her talking to me, I was like, oh yeah, you should just do that, and like she was in her head so much about it, but just having people that like think differently and can like push you or like have a different perspective to say, yeah, oh yeah, that's fine, and
Yeah,
because oftentimes we know what we want to do, but we just need someone else to see it to us sometimes. So
absolutely. Absolutely.